could be so exciting, could be so much fun. Heaven is a place, a place where nothing ever happens. Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens. When this kiss is over, we'll start again. Will not be any different. Will be exactly the same. It's hard to imagine that nothing at all could be so exciting, could be this much fun. Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens. Heaven is a place where nothing ever happens.
You know, in the very early stages of these conversations, I proposed a concept of maybe this year for Lent, not giving something up for Lent, but actually adding something for Lent, a challenge of adding a new permanent spiritual practice in your life. And I'm wondering how that's gone. You know, some of us may have found some shortcomings if we've decided to give something up, and that's fine. I always make the joke, as I do for New Year's resolutions, is that many times it's been 2 days into the assignment and we've already fumbled out. So yeah, however you've done, if you've stuck to giving something up passionately, if you've added something and you've carried it all the way through, amen. If you have not, that's fine too, because we are on a beautiful, special journey together. And within that journey, it is important to understand that success doesn't always equal being successful every day. I want to give you a pretty fun narrative that I thought of, and this happened during our time of COVID. One of the first things that I missed during COVID was the ability to go bowling. Bowling is a very important part of my family history. My uncle was a part owner of a bowling alley when I was very young. So I remember for many, many years going to the bowling alley, doing things at the bowling alley, always being in leagues, from kindergarten until my freshman year of college. I was always in a bowling league of some sort, whether in the YABA, the Youth Bowling Association, or as an adult bowler in leagues or so forth. I was in a league from kindergarten all the way up to my freshman year of college. And it's always a special memory for me. And when COVID came around, even though that I've kind of drifted away from bowling, months upon months can go in between me physically being in a bowling alley, but I still try to find some time here or there to go. Very recently, I was in a mall in Temecula, California, and I spent a few minutes in the bowling alley in there and bowled a couple of games. There's a special connection that I have specifically with my parents. My dad, my mom, we bowled in leagues together. I bowled in men's leagues with my dad many years. There were team years that I bowled with my mom. And I just kind of had this very special place of just a family connection, specifically with my mom and dad. My mom and dad bowled in leagues together, and I remember begging for quarters in the arcade, or just goofing around with other kids that were also there with their parents. And there's just a lot of great memories. So one of the first things that I began to miss when the COVID lockdown came was the ability to go bowling. And I swore, and I did, one of the first things I did when lockdown lifted was I went bowling again. But during a sermon that I shared, and I want to use this narrative again today, as we talk about succeeding with our Lenten promises or maybe failing here or there, I want you to know that even through the failures, we learn and grow. And I had this vision of heaven once. And I had this vision of heaven being a place of perfection. And I started to pray over what perfection really means. Because for me as a bowler, perfection has a set terminology. If you throw 12 strikes in a row, you have a perfect game. You have a 300 game. Throw a strike every frame. And perfection has a set image, a perfect game. And there's an excitement within that. And you throw 3 strikes in a row at the beginning of the game and you begin to joke around, I'm going to do it this time. And then you throw 6 strikes in a row and it gets a little bit more intense and you're nervous and your friends start to leave you alone because they know that you're in a zone and they want to let you be. And then you get 7, 8, 9 strikes in a row and there's this anticipation that builds up, an excitement that builds up. And then you get that 10th strike, 11th strike, and you've got that 290 on the computer screen. And whatever this next ball is sets a difference. You either make history and have this perfect game, or hey, you bowled a 291 because you choked and you only hit one pin, but a 291 is still a pretty sweet game. But there is this building up of excitement. At the very beginning of the game, you throw 3 strikes in a row and you think, wow, I might do it. And you start joking around, this is the time. And then you get to that 6th strike in a row and it's like, man, this is a different night. And other people start to notice it too. And there's this strange anticipation that builds up. And then you're sitting there with 11 in a row waiting to see what that last strike is. And it's almost like a stressful nerve wondering what will happen. So for bowling, there's that set idea of what perfection is. It's 12 strikes in a row. But where is the most joy? So here's the concept of why I bring this up about contemplating what heaven is like. If heaven is a set place of perfection, then if I bowl in heaven, and this is how absurd some of my daydreams get, believe me, I know. But if I bowl in heaven, then I'm going to bowl 12 strikes in a row. If I'm bowling a series, normally set leagues have a 3-game series. A set is based off of 3 games. I'm going to have 36 strikes in a row and a 900 series. And if I do that frequently, if I go to heaven, the first time I do that, it's pretty cool. There's an excitement in that. Hey, I've done it, and this is really cool, and it's neat. But if in heaven, living in the sense of perfection, that I know that every time the ball leaves my hand, I'm going to get a strike, the excitement disappears. The anticipation leaves. It's not that I expect it, I know it. And if you know something's going to happen with all out certainty, there's no stress, there's no worry, there's no anticipation. And I feel that the worry, the stress, and the anticipation is the most beautiful part of what perfection can be. So, using that narrative, I tried to use in this original sermon this idea, and I want to use it again today. This idea that perfection has flaws. Perfection has to have flaws, or it's not meaningful. There's no anticipation, there's no joy in what's going on. Perfection has to have moments of wonderment or even deeply moments of concern, because there's no deep emotional value if we exist in something that is just a moment of, well, I knew it was going to happen. But it's the anticipation of the journey that adds the meaningful flavor to what's going on. Now let me explain the 3 stages again. The first 3 frames, 3 strikes in a row, you get that turkey, and you're joking around, I'm going to do it this time. There's some fun when things are going our way. There is some fun and excitement when we make this Lenten promise and we're living it through, and it's really becoming something that we're starting to enjoy to do. Now let's use the second part of that narrative. We're into that 6th strike in a row, and we're starting to wonder, could it be that time? Could it be? There's times that we go on these journeys and we start to see who we are changing because of what we have been willing to participate in. We see ourselves acting differently. We see ourselves even beginning to think and process things differently. And through that, we begin to start to respect it more. And it's through respecting what we're doing, because we're seeing the potential in it, it starts to change who we are. And then that respect kind of moves forward, and it's the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th frames that we're respecting so much that this might happen that we're nervous about it. We're so deeply rooted in the potential of what's coming on. We don't just respect it. We want it so bad to be a reality that we're invested in it, and we're nervous about it, and we're working hard for it. That's the Lenten journey. We start with these promises, either something that we've added or something that we've taken away, and we want to see it through. But it is the joy and the anticipation and the respect that we show these things that we begin to allow it to shift us and change us, and we begin to respect it and live with it in a whole other way. So the end part of this narrative, when I shared this before during COVID, was if heaven is perfect, I'll never throw a 900 set, because perfection exists in the joy. Perfection exists in the anticipation. And perfection exists in the respect of that anticipation. And if we exist in things that we know that are absolutely going to happen, we lose the joy, we lose the anticipation, and we lose the respect for it. So I want you to celebrate no matter how well you did. If you started something new and dropped it, God bless. You still tried. If you gave something up and you had that quart of ice cream one week, you still tried. And the willingness of trying is what makes perfection so beautiful. So I want you to hold that in your hearts this week, and I just want you to hold it in your hearts and your being. And I pray that the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you all.